following program is a rock music-based podcast. G'day Gridiron, G'day Gridiron. Now you've heard the best and worst of them, and now you're about to hear the first of them. The first to ever do it down under. We're here to steal your thunder, like the world's end down in Thunderdome. Welcome to our second home. All you need to know is G'day. This is G'day Gridiron. 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 This is G'day Gridiron.
G'day Aussie Gridiron fans, and welcome to the G'day Gridiron podcast, brought to you by the Aussie Gridiron Network, Australia's home of NFL and local gridiron content. Welcome back to an off-season episode where we talk about a bit of news again, and that's all we can really do. But it is heating up. Everybody's in mini camps, OTAs, all of the like. They're getting to the point now where they're going to have their usual 30 to 40 days off before they come in for the big training camps and all of the fun pre-season stuff where we'll actually see NFL football played for the 2025 season. So we are getting closer and closer. Brad is back today. Nick is in the house.
Woo-hoo.
Brad, how are you going?
Hey, I'm doing great. I'm glad to be here talking football. One day closer to the actual start of regular season. So I've already been I won't shoot the load too quickly, but I've already been trying to break down the schedules, thinking, okay, this is going to be a good week 1 matchup, week 2, and so on and so forth. But I'm excited, man.
Getting ready for our all of our pre-season. What do we do with the look ahead we have in August, where we go through every single division, point of the compass by point of the compass each week for 4 weeks in August. Break down everybody, give our predictions, all of that good stuff that comes through August, Brad. We've just got to get there.
Absolutely. I think we've got a lot of really good preseason stuff. So the listener wants to keep tuned in for that because I think we have a good time and we've got some good content coming up.
And the listeners probably need to keep tuned in to the Aussie Gridiron Network, that is, for a lot of good local stuff coming up. I did an interview just today with Matt Campbell from Hunter Gridiron League, promoting a game against ACT that they're going to have coming up just next week, and we're going to be at that, as in Matty Manjot and I will be there calling the game, doing some interviews, all that sort of stuff. So we did that. Matty and Manjot had an interview that's going to come out as well with Rod from American Football ACT, who's sort of heavily involved in the women's game down there and how it's all changing down there. And then, of course, we've got Nick, who, of course, wasn't with us last week because he jetted on up to sunny Queensland via every airport in Australia to trial for Outback Gridiron team, the Outback men's gridiron team. Nick, how was it, dude?
I will say I did cover almost every airport, and to go through the stories of that would take a very long time. I don't think we've got enough time for that. One thing I will say, just before I go any further on details and obviously questions, I need to give, I know he doesn't have social media, a big shout out and a big thank you to one of our own Queensland representatives who this time last week was legitimately messaging me when I was going from my plane from supposed to be Melbourne to Gold Coast, but Melbourne to Brisbane, and the way that the planets aligned, was able to give me his spare room in his unit, which you could see behind him. I was in the door to the side there, which I think I've picked up something during the week, because as I entered that room at 1:30 in the morning, yes, that's how late it was Friday night, was covered with Dallas Cowboys stuff. They're welcoming me, and I think that's how I got picked up all this stuff. Regardless,
That was definitely a choice by Brad.
Oh yeah,
that was definitely intentional. And
Yes.
he did offer for me to stay at his place, and was really excited about it too. And I'll actually read out one of the direct quotes. Who say, "Yes, please catch an Uber to my house. I've had one too many wines, so unfortunately I can't pick you up."
Nick, did you listen to last week's episode? he was
But-
drinking goon on call, like as we were doing the show last week. So yes, he had one too many wines.
But nevertheless, yes, forever thankful for Brad, because otherwise, if I wasn't, if he wasn't there, like literally, I'd probably be at the bus station somewhere that night. I don't know what I would have done. I would have figured out something. And
So
then as well,
tell us about the trials, dude. Tell us about the trials. That's what we all want to know about. How was it?
And then as well, to get from his place in the morning all the way to the airport as well. So thank you very much, Brad. I don't know how you found out, because I actually hadn't told him pre-hand, so I'm assuming you guys did just before.
You clearly haven't listened to last week's episode, Dan. We were tracking your flight, mate.
Yeah,
Tracking the flight.
we were.
You told us you were taking off right before we hit record last week. And I went, oh, hang on. I'll be able to know on Flight Tracker whereabouts he is. So dial up Flight Tracker out of Melbourne, onwards to Brisbane. That'll be the flight. And I was watching it through the whole episode.
Yeah.
There we go. Look at that. And then we got to the trials.
Yeah, for the trials.
What I can say, I mean, it was a phenomenal experience all round. Like, just the quality of guys that were out there, you know, between the coaching, the players, you know, we had, you know, I think I calculated about 8 hours worth of training within about just over 24 hours, which is insane. I've never experienced anything like that in another sport, let alone this one where it's physical. But it was so great. It was phenomenal. And I will say, Brad, as well, I did lie to you in the green room. We do have response back on making the squad or not. And I can say that 5 South Australian guys went up and 5 South Australian guys got picked.
Hey! That's fantastic.
All of us down here got picked, so we found out Tuesday. And originally I was going to do it as a surprise for tonight for everyone, but I figured the guys that obviously are on social media and that would find out beforehand. So I couldn't hide that, but I saved the best for last.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
I'm stoked.
There we go.
Looking forward.
Nick's jersey announcement there up on the screen.
That makes me happy. That makes me really happy. I'm
Going to
so
see
glad
his
for
name
you.
in green and gold.
Oh, look
can't
at that,
wait, yeah.
man.
We just got your
Oh.
number now, though, Nick. I got to know what number you
We
are.
don't know the number, but I did say in the form that, look, I'm happy with... I do like numbers in the 70s as an O-lineman. But yeah,
that
I don't
makes
know.
me
I don't know which
awesome.
number as of yet, but that'll be soon. But
Yeah.
looking forward to it. Back up there in a few weeks, and hopefully, you know, we'll have a few sessions and try and win myself a starting spot.
Oh,
Mate.
dude.
Oh, you all 5. Oh, that's so good. That is so good. I'm so,
We've known all week, Brad.
oh, I'm so happy for you.
None of us intentionally don't tell you these things. It's just that we forget that you're not on social media. So
I'm just not on it. So, that's the downside of not being on it, is you miss out on stuff
That's
like
right.
that. But that makes me really, really happy. So good. Oh,
Nick, I've got to show you something now. And like, Maddie and I, and obviously all of us at AGN, we're so excited for you. Absolutely excited with everything that's gone on, and all that, and you getting picked. And of course, neither Maddie nor I can pass up the opportunity to create another dumb T-shirt design. So if all the listeners, all the watchers go right now to Linktree /Aussie Gridiron Network, click on the merch store, you will find this design right here in the merch store.
I
for
love
Nick.
that.
Oh man, I'm
Defending us.
gonna buy one of those and take it up. Hopefully, it gets here before I can go up.
That is
I'm gonna
awesome.
wear
That's
that.
a really good.
It's awesome. Maddie came up with this, and he, like I just said it in a dumb way to Maddie, and he went out of his way. He goes, yes, absolutely, we're doing this. We are absolutely 100% waiting to know what number you are, Nick, because you can put back graphics on these things as well. So you can guarantee at some point we are going to have a Cosme shirt.
I was going to say my sister's all week been saying about trying to get like when I know my number and stuff, like trying to get that all organised. So definitely when I know my number.
This is you and the rest of the SA boys now, mate. This is what this shirt is.
Yeah, literally.
Because we joked straight away. Because Matty was like, "Yes, you know what? Australia's past defender, I think that's what he said. Yeah, past defence. You know, it's what we got defending Australia. We got to give our own love, don't we, Brad?
You bet. Yeah, absolutely. They don't just hand it out willy-nilly. He earned it. So all those guys from South Australia, they earned everybody on the team.
We 100% know that once they get into it, all the media is going to be about the QB and the wide receivers. It's going to be all the fancy stuff, probably the edge rusher. The big dude. Is that the dude you were talking about in the green room, that massive man mountain in purple? Just rushing through people, just like a crazy man.
Which one?
Who was that? The big guy that was wearing purple. I don't know if I want to just bring it up on screen.
No, bring it up on screen. Go for it.
Bugger it. No, hang on. I have to find it because I can't. I'm not going to bring my Facebook up to everybody.
Oh, that could be dangerous.
I was going to say, based on that, there was a lot of guys from the Bayside Ravens.
He might have been there purple, aren't they? I'm sure they are.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think where the photos are now that all that media was. It's going to be hard to find it on AFA at the moment because they're just pushing flag everywhere. I don't know. But there was a massive guy that I could see that he was clearly having a lot of fun. One of the D linemen, you could tell he was really having a lot of fun just from the pictures.
I think everyone had, I mean, speaking from my experiences, it was so much fun. Like just the competitiveness and, like I said, just knowing that every single rep you're going up against one of the best in the country. It's just insane. So, I think about 35 to 40 of us are actually going back. So, really, it still really hasn't really sunk in. Yeah. I think when it gets a bit closer and when I'm there the week of and see the Guernsey and everything, that's probably when it is going to kick in. But just an insane experience.
Get your own helmet and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's another thing. That's the one thing I'm looking forward to is
when you get the green and gold helmet.
Yeah.
I mean, how many people can say they represented their country in a sport, in a competition? So for all that.
And particularly for for this sport, because there hasn't been any senior tackle game for 10 years, literally 10 years. So it's not even like the Olympics. Like the Olympics there's been 2 or 3 Olympics since there's last been a senior outback game. So puts it in perspective, or even like World Cup or anything like that. So it puts it in perspective, really.
Oh,
it's such a cool thing, man, and hopefully it does go really well. Like everything, not just for you, but for everybody, because it'll be really good just to sort of see a lot more of it happening in terms of more tackle, more of this international stuff.
Yeah.
More of the state games. Unfortunately, this Hunter ACT game seems to be the only state game that's going to get played this season because everyone's rolling onto new seasons now. So that's a bit unfortunate, but you can't help it. It was just the state of how everything went this year. But
it's good that they're at least pushing that game, because I know that obviously there was some issues with the weather not too long ago in that region for where the game was going to be played. So it's really good that they're still trying to push it, because like literally all the guys at camp, we all didn't play state. So it was like, well, in regards to playing games, most of us hadn't played games. I mean, we were the last ones in SA to play games, and that was in March. So, all we've been doing since then is just really training. So it's good that there's actually going to be a state game that's happening.
Yeah, and Harris, who got it from Hunter, got in as a wide receiver, so we're going to be able to get to interview him next week, which will be awesome. Apparently, he loves to talk ball, loves to talk about himself. Says Matt to me, so definitely a wide receiver. So that's going to be pretty cool. And there were a couple other guys. Matt himself said he got invited to try out for QB, but work commitments meant that work and life commitments meant that he couldn't sort of get the time off or get his way up there. It's very unfortunate, but yeah, he was a junior outback player way back when. In the 16s, I think. So yeah, he actually got in. I think he said he got in to go over, or they were supposed to go overseas, I think to Europe somewhere in 2020, and then obviously everything happened. And it happened around 2020, and then But anyway, that's cool, mate. We're all pretty proud of you, as I'm sure everybody around you is as well. So you and all the guys from SA and everybody else that's gotten chosen so far. AFA is supposed to have the full team list out shortly, they reckon. That's what they've said on social media today. So that'll be pretty cool. Once that does happen, I'm assuming they're still picking a few of the squad here and there and making decisions before they put it all out there. But
Oh, okay. So they haven't released the full team yet.
no.
Not as of yet. I'm assuming there may be like they've probably had some guys in mind that they want to move forward with, but obviously there's issues with getting the time off, payments, all that stuff. So they've got to get definitely all of that locked down. I'm assuming, but yeah,
it'd be a lot of stuff. And AFA as a whole, they've got flag. They got the flag tournament, the international tournament or something this the end of this month. So there's a lot of stuff from them this weekend on. They've had a full week of training camp for the Australian flag squad. So there's been a lot of social media stuff coming out on that stuff. So it's pretty cool. So, all right. Well, that's some local stuff for you. We've just done 15 minutes on the local game. So no one can ever accuse us of not doing that. And this is a G'day Gridiron episode, not even an Aussie Gridiron Today episode. So here we go. Look at us go. Love it. Absolutely love it. Let's talk NFL. Do you want to talk NFL ball? Some of it, some of this news that we got coming up is nowhere near as exciting as this, but there's definitely some of it coming up. Let's talk about probably the biggest thing that has happened in the NFL in the last couple of days, and that is the crazy one, Antonio Brown. Just yesterday, it came out that there is a warrant for Antonio Brown, wanted for murder, attempted murder, technically.
Look at that for a headline.
Yeah.
Oh, gee.
Look at that for a headline.
If that's not the eyes of the man who could just steal your heart and eat it, I don't know what is.
And that's before all of this. That was when he was nude on a field. Apparently, there is a warrant out for his arrest for attempted murder, where for an incident that was at a nightclub or something back in May. And a little bit of the story I read today essentially said that he got into an altercation with a guy. I think he pushed him down or punched him or something like that, and then stole or took a gun off a security guard and then fired it several times at the guy, narrowly grazing his neck or his head at some point before the situation was sort of diffused. So apparently there is a warrant out for his arrest, and they're suggesting like he posts $10,000 bail to be on house arrest until trial.
Have you seen the video, Ian?
No, I have not. No, I haven't delved that deeply into it today. Does it show all of that stuff?
Well, you see a lot of you see the main stuff, put it that way, but there's a lot of people sort of in and around it, so you can't really get a good sort of look at it, but you get an idea of what's going on.
Yeah. So, yeah.
What's going on is you got a psycho who grabs a gun off a guy who probably shouldn't have a gun. It's one thing for his
because he grabbed it. Yeah, I was going to say he grabbed it off a cop.
Oh, was it a cop?
I think he grabbed it, remembering the video, I think he grabbed it actually from the cop. Like, out of his holster and just,
Which is insane to start with. So.
Yeah, that's just, you feel sad. You feel sad for, obviously, the guy who got shot at. You feel sad for Antonio Brown because he's a complete tool.
CTESPN. That's what they call him.
What's that?
CTESPN.
See, oh jeez.
That's his brand now. That's his brand. That's what he says. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. If you ever get back on social media, you've got to follow him on whatever they call it now, Twitter or X. It is the best thing.
Oh, wow.
It is the best.
According to the warrant, officers responded to a report of gunshots being fired outside of the venue shortly before midnight, May 16. When they arrived, an off-duty officer working security at the event said he left the venue after being told of the sound of gunfire, according to the warrant. He said he then observed Brown involved in a physical altercation with another man. Patrons in the parking lot told officers that Brown was the shooter, according to the warrant, which also states that Brown had no weapon on him when officers patted him down. Investigators found 2 spent shell casings and an empty gun holster, according to the warrant. So, yeah, and as of Thursday, they haven't been able to contact him. Contacts were unsuccessful as of Thursday evening.
Wow. That could end up ugly with somebody. The dude's unstable. He's legitimately unstable. So this could end bad. I really hope it doesn't, but it could.
I was gonna say I found a video of it. It's not very well taken, but if you guys want to see, I can try and share my screen.
Hang on. Let me stop this one. You can go for it. Let's see.
Let me see if I can get it to work. Hang on.
Why not? Well, let's bring it up here. Shit can only get us cancelled.
No, it's the 49ers. It should be alright.
I know.
Jeez.
You probably can't see him yet. I have seen this video before. He's about to pop up. This is basically the aftermath of it. There he is there.
In the
Just running
brown.
through.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit!
Oh, shit.
Oh shit!
And obviously there was gunfire, and that's when people
Yeah.
scattered.
Yeah.
Yo, what the?
Far out.
Yeah, it's
dude.
pretty full on.
That's scary, man. It's just in a blink of an eye,
It's just crazy. It's just crazy, Brad. Absolutely crazy.
On there, it's just part and parcel with what's going on over there. Moving right along.
Along.
Nothing to see. The country's burning. Nothing to see.
Smoke and mirrors, Brad. It's all smoke and mirrors.
That's all right. It's all the Democrats' fault.
Oh, yeah. He didn't. It's not like he. Coincidentally, Brad, he didn't tell the military to go into LA until the day after Elon accused him of being in a certain book,
Ah,
certain lot of files.
jeez. Yeah.
You're in the Epstein files. What? No, I'm not. Look at this thing over here. The military are in LA. I'm sending them there.
Let's go invade the city.
Anyway, let's not get too political.
Let's digress.
Yeah.
Let's digress.
Oh, we've done that.
Shamar Stewart still hasn't signed a contract, his rookie contract for the 17th overall pick in last year's draft. There's a lot more that's come out this week. Shamar was interviewed in the locker room by Bengals TV or BengalsTalk.com, and they got some awesome quotes at him. I was a little bit in a different headspace when I first heard this news a week or so ago. I thought, arrogant kid, just wants more, wants guaranteed money. Like, I think I talked about it when we actually talked about it the first time, was that there's been some other players, some other first-round rookies that have signed that have got fully guaranteed contracts straight up. And I assumed that that's what he was going for. You listen to this kid talk, and which I did. If you go and find the video, it's because it is quite long, so we're not going to play it here. But he talks incredibly well. He's incredibly honest about things. He doesn't shit on the organisation at all. He says he wants to have a long future with them, and he thinks they're going to have a long future ahead. And it turns out, in all the media, that essentially the Bengals are trying to... They put clauses into his contract that aren't in anybody else's. So all rookie contracts are agreed. There's an agreed sum, guaranteed sum over the life of their rookie contract, so 4 or 5 years. 3, 4, or 5 years, to a certain sum for every single pick, agreed by the NFL and the NFLPA in the last collective bargaining agreement. And the Bengals think that they've found a way to get around that little loophole of being able to pay a guaranteed contract. And they have put something there which essentially has the wording that if there is any default in a year by Shamar Stewart, and by that it means that if he gets hurt and he misses certain game times, that sort of thing, then it won't just void the rest of that year's salary, which is commonplace from what I've read in these contracts. It'll void all future years, which means that if he gets hurt at any point, say if he signed a contract and got hurt this year as a rookie, it would void his entire contract, his entire first round draft pick contract. So, yeah, this is a weird little thing that the Bengals, who, I don't know, they've been known for doing some really weird things as an organisation in the front office over the years. They seem to take steps forward, and then they just take giant leaps backwards. And they just, I don't know, it's really weird, Brad.
It's wrong in terms of the way they treat people, and I think your summation of it is absolutely correct. They seem to be doing some things, like historically they've been noted for being just one of the worst, cheapest organizations in pro sports. Forget football, but just in pro sports. And you look at a lot of the anonymous surveys that come out about just from the players about the situations and just all the peripheral stuff. And the Bengals have historically rated incredibly bad. But you have the Super Bowl run. You got Jay Burrow. They're doing some things. You think that the younger members of the family are starting to become a lot more involved, and you're seeing progress. And then you hear stuff like this, and it's same old Bengals, same old. So it's hard in today's day and age. Like, why would you want to go play for the Bengals? Like, if you've got a choice, I'll take $1 million, $2 million less, and go play for somebody else than have to put up with that crap from the Bengals. It's an embarrassment. So yeah, and the thing that gets me is they don't seem to learn. Like, it's just over and over and over.
As I said 2 weeks ago, they wouldn't have any issues if this was a receiver or a running back. Just seems to be on the defensive side of the ball. But,
yeah, of course, because Trey Hendrickson still hasn't signed a contract. And Trey Hendrickson's different. He's got a contract. He's playing under the last year of a contract.
Yeah.
So he's currently holding out of camp and training camp and everything. So he is getting fined at that point. He's trying to make a point, but like, he has a contract. So at some point he has to play because he's on the last year of his contract, or he will void that money. That money will be gone. But in terms of Shamar Stewart, there has been some talk. I did read some little bits and pieces just this afternoon that, okay, so most rookies, for instance, when they haven't signed their contract yet, rookie mini camps are usually on before most of them sign their contracts. So apparently they can sign a legal document that says that they're covered for any injuries sustained during training camp prior to being an undrafted free agent, because at that point they're an undrafted free agent basically. So they can sign this thing to say that they're covered for that legally and for insurance-wise and that. But apparently the Bengals, again, cheapened out on that and said that they don't abide by those things. They don't have them sign that. So Shamar, not even practicing, he's at the facility. He's going. He says in this interview, he'll go through the playbook. He learns his plays. He attends meetings, all that sort of stuff. But he's not getting on the practice field, and apparently a lot of that is because they won't have them or let them sign any agreement, which means that they're covered. They're covered for small, minute things, but if he has a season-ending injury in rookie camp or something like that, they won't cover him.
It's all over. Yeah.
So the Bengals are just being this weird, cheap franchise again. I don't know how they still get away with it, to be honest. I don't know how the NFL doesn't start putting foot down and going, you're making this a lot harder, but you're also making us look bad. And I can't imagine that the NFLPA is going to let this shit that they're going on with now with the clauses in his contract stand for much longer as it goes through. Because it's in the collective bargaining agreement. It's in the
Yeah.
CBA. Like, it's
Yeah.
in law. This is how much, this is what the contract is. So everybody else's is just signed because it's just a matter of fact.
Yeah.
And it's just the time to get pen to paper, basically. And a couple of them, like I said, the franchises said, we're going to guarantee your whole contract straight away on signing. Great, no worries. Because you can do that, because the contract's guaranteed anyway.
Yeah, no, it's. What I don't get is the Bengals just don't seem to realize they're stuck in like 1988, and they expect Boomer Esiason to come trotting out there, and it's.
Well, they've still got Joe Burrow.
Yeah, well, it's what gets me is that they don't understand that the players now are the ones that have the leverage, whether you like it or not. So Shamar Stewart, he could not sign his contract. And it used to be that, coming out of college, the players needed that money. Like, that was legitimate. They needed that money. And they don't need that money nowadays. They're getting millions of dollars in college. He's already a millionaire. So it's not as if he has to sign, he has to play this year.
Yep.
He could, theoretically, not sign his contract and then get redrafted next year. And frankly, if the Bengals continue doing this kind of crap, I hope that's what he does. I hope that he makes an example of them and the other teams don't try and pull that crap.
And it's a domino effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Nick.
I was going to say it's a domino effect as well, because, you come around to next year's draft, and if they pull the same stunt with another player, then it's going to be like,
Well, no one's going to want to be drafted by them.
Correct.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. They'll
And
do
people say
everything
that
they can.
if he does this, if he goes to next year's draft, he's going to lose out because no one's going to draft him in the first round. Fine.
Yes.
If he gets drafted in the third or the fifth or the seventh, big deal. He'll get drafted. And, as you say, Brad, he's already got money.
Yeah.
And it'd be just about playing for a franchise and being able to actually play. And you can guarantee he would play. And in 3 years' time, because that's the length of his contract, if he goes beyond the second round, he would be up for extensions. And if he plays the way that everybody thinks that he can actually play and saw what happened in college, he'll get a big number on that extension earlier than he would have with the Bengals.
Right. No, he'd get drafted in the first round. I put money on it. Just because, I mean, if you're getting, it's the Bengals, so you never know. I was going to say, anybody drafted in the teens, they're going to get drafted in the first round. But, the Bengals might draft somebody just off the street in the second round, so you never know. But he'll get drafted, and I hope they learn from this. They won't, because they're the Bengals, but
There was some stuff out there too. He does have some other options. Apparently, he could go and sign for the USFL if he wanted to.
Yeah.
So,
okay, yeah. All right.
He could go
Go
and
play in another league for a year.
And I think if he goes and plays in another league for a year, he doesn't have to actually go to the draft either.
Okay.
I meant to look that up today, and I have a feeling that he doesn't have to because he'd then be a professional player, which means that he could technically be an undrafted free agent at the end of their season.
He goes and plays in the CFL for a year.
Yeah, which means that he could then go and play anywhere if he was an undrafted free agent. Anybody could go and pick him up.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's true.
I don't know. I meant to look it up today, and I hadn't got that far, and I just wondered whether that would be the case. Whether
I think it would be.
if you come out of college and you sign with the USFL or the CFL for a year and you play, whether you had to go to a draft to be back in the NFL, or someone can just come and pick you up off the street.
Yeah, I don't know, because it used to be that the team that drafted you owned the rights to you for 5 or 7 years. So I know that's how the Cowboys actually got Herschel Walker. I'm dating myself here, but they drafted Herschel Walker, and then in the 6th or 7th or 10th round back then, and he went and played in the USFL. And then when the USFL folded, they got him. So, of course, there's been several CBA bargaining agreements since then. But that's an interesting thing. We'll have to do a dive into that and find out how long do you own the rights for it. But what I was reading today is that he could just go back into next year's draft.
Yeah, we can get back into the draft, but anybody could draft him after that. It's not like the Bengals own his draft pick after that. So. And the Bengals would actually lose. They don't get any compensation if that all happens either. they lose out on a draft pick.
Stick it to him. Yeah.
So, yeah. So,
I'm not anti-Bingle, but I'm anti trying to just dick over players. I just think that's wrong.
there's a few of those this week, Brad. So let's move on.
Dicks
TJ Watt.
or players? What do we?
TJ Watt dicking over people.
No, sorry.
TJ Watt still hasn't got a contract extension that the Steelers should have given him 2 years ago, and now they're going to be looking at somewhere in the $40 million range. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago, the fact that he was going to be right up there. When Myles Garrett signed, and we talked about the fact that TJ Watt still hasn't signed, and all of a sudden the Steelers now, something they should have done 2 years ago, and they actually said to him, we'll wait, and they've been keeping him waiting year on year. Now it looks like it might bite him in the arse, Nick.
Yeah, so his contract's up next year now, and is expected to have a cap hit of just over $30 million. So, as we said, this is now going to bite them on the arse because they will be paying north of $40 million, and they have no leverage. So it's like you can't really trade him because teams will just go, we'll just wait till the end of the year. So they have no leverage in this situation. It's either they let him walk for free, which is dumb, or they got to pay out the big bucks because Garrett got a really good deal for the $40 million a year. So they're going to have to pay north of that because he's been just as good of a talent. So that's just how the market moves. And to be honest, I can't see any reason as to why they won't pay him now because they've been paying. They're the highest spenders on defense in the entire league. And that will continue. Like, they'll show why they do it. And rightfully so. Like, I know he is into his 30s now. But, he still produces at a high level. So, I'd be doing it for sure.
Well, now we also know that they're only getting a QB on a $10 million contract, too.
I thought it was 13, but
13 with incentives, Brad.
okay.
So it's a 10 base.
Yeah. Well, the thing that also surprises me a little bit about Watt is that he's already shown that he's more than willing to sit out, or because last time he did the hold in and he practiced off to the side when they did team drills. And that went on until like the Thursday of week 1 practices. So he's not afraid to, and now he's in less need of any money. Now it's about, at this stage in his career, it's about pride and all that, and that stuff matters to these guys. Where do they rank in terms of highest paid player, second highest paid player, and all that stuff. So. I guarantee you, I think this could be a little bit more of a prolonged holdout, and it's not as if he needs the reps. I think
not at all.
He'd be happy to sit out for another month or so.
Yeah, give his body a bit of a rest too at the same time.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, the Steelers are still in news for other reasons though. Jalen Ramsey hadn't gotten a trade partner up until this point, but there has been rumours that Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith both have interest from the Steelers. That's both. So they're interested in both of those players trading with Miami. And Jalen Ramsey also is getting some interest from the Raiders, some very real interest with some actual numbers and rumours out there. So let's go first. The Steelers are thinking that they've already shown some interest in Jonnu Smith, which sort of just popped up randomly. It's kind of like that's been in the background that Jonnu Smith wanted out, that he wants to trade out of Miami. I hadn't seen it anywhere until just today. So that's kind of popped up. And now they're saying that they're interested in Jalen Ramsey. And I think all this has come about because, as I just said, now they know that they're only paying $10 million for a receiver. For a QB. They've got a bit more money to throw around. But something else that came out was the Raiders are interested, and there is actually apparently a offer on the table for Jalen Ramsey to go to the Las Vegas Raiders, and it is somewhere around like a 2026 fifth round pick, plus them picking up the vast majority of his money. They've got about $36 million in cap space. And Ramsey signed a 3-year, $72 million contract just last season with the Dolphins. So there's been a bit of interest, Brad.
Yeah, my thing with Ramsey is he too old to be getting that kind of money? Because how old is he? Is he, what, 31?
Yeah, I think he'd be pushing mid-30s now.
And the thing is, cornerback and DBs, they have the biggest drop off, I think, more than any other position. And you really see them go from being all pros to just decent starters to just shouldn't be out on the field type thing.
Yeah.
And it happens really quick with those guys. So, and it hasn't happened yet with Ramsey, but it's gonna. And he's old, and I just think, man, do you really want to make that kind of bet? Because he's going to be wanting some guaranteed money for multiple years. It's not going to be just a one. Because I can't imagine the Dolphins not saying, oh, we'll give you a 1 year whatever contract, but he probably wants he wants multi-years guaranteed. So
Yeah.
And given who else is out there, which we'll talk about in a second, I don't know that I would go after Ramsey hard unless I'm desperate. If I'm Ramsey, I'm thinking maybe I wait till it's closer to the season and teams do get more desperate and roll at it from that perspective.
Yeah, I was going to say definitely with that perspective, towards the middle sort of trade deadline during the season is probably that time, because that's when, particularly your higher end teams are going, okay, we need someone that can lock someone down on the perimeter, or, just someone else that can sit across from, a really good DB as well. I think more so out of these two teams, obviously the Raiders will be more desperate out of the two teams. In saying that, though, on the back end for the Steelers, they are getting a little bit older now. So he doesn't really add anything in terms of, the youth on that side. I'm really surprised, though, with Jonnu Smith being linked to... Surely he's not linked to the Raiders, though. Is that true?
No, not to the Raiders, but to the Steelers.
Okay.
Because
I can't see why they...
Well,
Yeah.
Rappaport just sort of suddenly dropped in an interview this week that the Steelers had also inquired about with Atlanta about Kyle Pitts. So there has been some talk about Jonnu Smith being linked there as well. So to
the Raiders?
No, to the Steelers. So the
To the
Steelers
Steelers.
seem to be looking for a tight end to add to the room.
Okay.
Could you imagine Kyle Pitts going from Atlanta to the Steelers to play under a coach that underutilized him massively?
No.
With Aaron Rodgers now.
With Aaron Rodgers. Unreal. It'd be unreal. The other person being sort of thrown around by the Steelers and a few others is a guy that got released this week. Jair Alexander got released by the Green Bay Packers after 7 seasons in the league. 2 straight injury-filled seasons ultimately spelled the end for Alexander with the Packers, who released the star cornerback on Monday just gone in the US. Sort of end an off-season saga in which the two sides tried to find middle ground, but ultimately couldn't find that. So Joe is a great player when healthy, but he just couldn't seem to stay healthy the last couple of seasons, Brad, and especially with the Packers.
I mean, because you're paying this guy a boatload of money, and he's missed 10 games, or he's only played in 10 games over the last 2 seasons. So I get it. Like, it's just too expensive for him. But when he is playing, he is a stud. He's legit. So there's a reason he got paid. At that time, it was the number 1 DB or cornerback salary. So he set the market there for a little bit. And he's not even 30 yet. I think he's going to be turning. This will be his year 29 season.
Yep.
He's turning
Yep.
29.
Yeah, correct.
So yeah, but I've always the stuff that I heard. I don't know. I haven't looked at it today, but was the Rams were really in contention for it and really wanted him. So
There's a few. There's a few that have sort of been interested and have been thrown about, I guess, by everybody in the media. Not
Yeah.
necessarily, don't know how true some of these are. And I'll go down the lists that I've got in front of me. The Dolphins, of course, because of the Jalen Ramsey saga. The 49ers are a possibility. The Bills, the Ravens, the Vikings, and the Eagles, and I think the Rams as well. I think I had heard that one as well. But the top ones at the top there, where people are thinking that Joe will probably land, will be either the Eagles or the Vikings. But he did have some other. I think he's having some meetups with a couple other teams at the end of this week as well.
how do you, I mean how would you feel if he goes to the Vikings? I'd love to see him going to the Vikings.
Well, the Vikings still have an open cornerback spot, which they're been sort of putting out there that it's for. They're specifically keeping open for a veteran cornerback. Mm-hmm. So he would fit that bill because we've got a lot of younger guys, and it'd be guys that can play a bit and could probably learn from a quality veteran. So even if he was injured a little bit, it wouldn't be so bad. But I also think that under that defensive scheme, he would probably flourish just with his knowledge. We've seen other veterans the last couple of years in that defense just really come alive, and it seems to be one that fosters the right kind of attitude for guys of that age, sort of that 28 to 30-year-old range. I wouldn't hate it. And being released means that he's not going to come with a huge price tag either. So
Yeah.
that's the other good part.
Yeah. It's I just don't. I don't get it. I think you got to know that you got to know when you've got leverage and when you don't. And this is to the Bengals situation earlier. I know it's completely different, but with their rookie first round draft pick, he's got the leverage. In this case, the Packers have the leverage. So the dude's missed time, and they're trying to get a clause in there that says you don't get, if you don't pay, you don't get your full contract. And so, but apparently they had a conversation like Sunday night, and he refused to back down, and so they cut him Monday morning or whenever it was. So it's just know your situation. And if I'm an agent, that's what I should be doing. Is I should be informing my guy, saying, look, this is what's going to happen. And that the agent and the GM are talking. It's not as if it's complete blindside to the player. So it's weird, man. It's just weird.
Maybe
Definitely.
because there's so many teams going after him, he maybe has, sort of leverage
Yeah.
with being able to negotiate off these teams now. Because he had his contract finishing next year. So maybe just go, can you snag a 2 or 3, even a 3-year deal with someone that can offer a little bit of guaranteed money and just get into a bidding war.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true. If he just would have to be willing and comfortable to go to another team, there'd be obviously there's no hometown discount. And frankly, if I was in Green Bay, I'd be more than willing to go to another team just to get out of that cold. No thanks.
So would I. Get away from all the Packers. Cool. That's the news for this week. The other thing we thought we might have a bit of a talk about this week is let's have a bit of a chat about second-year QBs and the questions that they raise. Of course, we've got a few second-year QBs this season in some big spots around the league. JJ McCarthy, Michael Penix, Drake May, Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, and of course it looks like Spencer Rattler will be starting at some point for New Orleans Saints. So, Brad, A lot of guys there, 7 guys sort of in the mix as second-year QBs in the league. So 7 out of 32 all look to be starting for their respective teams this season. Is there anyone you want to have a bit of a chat about first out of those 7 guys?
Well, the first one that always jumps out to me is the Caleb Williams, front and center there in the graphic, and I think he's had a rough trot, to be honest with you. The ineptitude of the Bears organization is, especially as more things have come to light about you just not getting supported and all that kind of stuff. I think in my opinion, he's poised to make a big year 2 jump from all these quarterbacks. I would say he's the one that's going to make the most significant jump. So, I mean, Daniels is already, had a phenomenal rookie season. So, and I think, but the fact that Williams is getting Ben Johnson as his coach, and they just added so many weapons around him, I think he is really going to blossom. Now, Ian and I were talking about in the green room a little bit before this. He had a historically bad kind of season. I shouldn't say historically, but out of the 40 quarterbacks with at least 200 dropbacks, he was 33rd in success rate. So that's bad. That's really bad.
Do you want a comparison for that, Brad? Bryce Young in his second year. In his first year, I should say. Bryce Young in 2023, 37.7%. Caleb Williams last year, 42% in dropback success rate.
Okay.
So it was only we all know how bad Bryce Young was in his rookie year.
Yeah. That one was historically bad. So, and the stat that really surprised me, that stuck out for me though, was that Williams, his off-target rate, he had an off-target rate of 21%, which is only behind, guess who? Anthony Richardson. He was the only one. So, and he's got a really high sack rate, 10% high sack rate. So it's, and that was behind Will Levis, or right there with Will Levis and Deshaun Watson. Not the company you want to keep when it comes to sack rate, at least. So,
yeah.
So statistically, he had some bad things, but he still did some amazing stuff. And the Bears have invested so much in their offseason with the line and the skill position players. And I just think with the quality coaching, I really think he's poised for a big year 2 bounce back.
Nick, is there a guy out of those 7 you want to have a chat about at all? Like anyone you're sort of interested in as a second year QB?
It's interesting because one of the things that I really tried to pick out with this group, it's probably not the right way to think about it, but a lot of these guys in previous years, so you look at the previous draft class, all the guys that were drafted, you can make a case that maybe Bryce Young, based off the second half of his year, was the only one that really improved from his rookie year. Another class, to compare more apples with apples, I give it more so a comparison with the draft class that was, Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Mac Jones. There's someone else that I'm missing from that group, Justin Fields. Right, so 5 guys that were taken higher, and not many of those guys have worked out since, but a lot of those guys haven't gotten better since they were first starting, and so what makes me worried here is that not all of these guys are going to take big steps up, and it's sort of like who do you pick out that's probably going to take the step backwards? And when you think about it logically, you've got Caleb Williams, who, as we've mentioned already, investment in their O-line. They've still got weapons there. Now got an offensive guru. So you probably say you could see why he could drop back based on what he did last year and how he holds onto the ball for a long time and can overthink stuff. Mm-hmm. But I feel like there's probably more chance that he sort of grows. I look at sort of JJ McCarthy. You think, okay, he's been in a good system. He's technically had a year to sit, not intentionally, of course, but he's in a system where, you know, you look at it and go, well, Sam Darnold worked here. Surely JJ McCarthy could work here in a way that Kevin O'Connell, you know, didn't bring back Sam Darnold and puts his faith into this guy. But him, I don't really count. He's sort of more like a red shirt, so you're not sort of sure what you're going to get. My attention really goes, because Drake May is an interesting one. They've also invested heavily on their offensive line. It is, though, a defensive sort of culture there. So he's a little bit of someone that is on that radar. But my attention more so goes towards, actually, when you think about it, Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix. I just think because Jaden Daniels has hit such a high for his rookie year, it's going to be very hard for him to be able to replicate what had happened last year. Now, I understand...
It's very easy to regress from that high.
It is very easy to regress because we had seen, like we said, the previous year of draft class QBs was CJ Stroud. Now, technically, they had gotten to a point where they were sort of in that same spot where they made like a divisional game. So, you know, saying that Washington's going to make it another conference game is not completely out of the question, but is he going to hit the same heights? There is a chance. I mean, you've still got Scary Terry there. You know, they've got an older Debo Samuel who might be able to be good in some spots. So there is a bit of a sign. And look, at the end of the day, he still is quite an undersized QB. Even though he's been able to navigate that and still play through, there is that sort of concern as well. The other one is Bo Nix, and I only say this because I still think offensively they're not a fantastic. Like their O line's still good, you know, they've still got Sean Payton, but there's a little bit of me that's thinking, how high is Bo Nix's ceiling? Like when you see him play, like how actually, like I don't think he's a player that's got such a high ceiling. So it could be, for a lot of these guys, like I think Caleb's the only one where you can go, okay, I can actually see why he's going to go from here to here. Whereas a lot of these guys, like Bo Nix and Jane Daniels, like Jane Daniels like here is like, how much higher can he really go? Unless he's like a generational talent. Bo Nix is about the same. So I think that what you're going to see this year is probably most of these guys are probably going to hit that ceiling. We don't really have a sample size on Michael Penix. I'm not sure how much better he'll be. Spencer Rattler, I don't think it's going to take that long for him to be overtaken. And they try... I'm trying to think if they pick up now. Schoff? It was Schoff, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
I think it was Tyler Schoff. Yeah. So, and Drake May is another one, like I said, not too sure how that goes. But you see glimpses, but again, can they put it together for like sort of a full year? Because you can get away with sort of that first year being, oh, you know, they were terrible and everything like that. A bit like what they were for Trevor Lawrence. But, you know, that leash gets shorter and shorter every year. So it becomes really interesting to see how they go in that spot, because New England have picked up a lot on the offensive line, but are their weapons going to be able to pull through now and actually give him that help? So a lot more pressure is back on these QBs now in their second year, going, well, we've got you this help, we've got you that better protection, or we've got you those weapons. So go show us, you know, go make the playoffs, or, you know, go back to the playoffs in the case of two of these guys. So, you know, make it work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I don't think we haven't seen a proper sample size from Michael Penix, and I'm not enthused about the team that's around him. JJ McCarthy, obviously, there's zero sample size in actual NFL games, but I believe in him having a good year. What is essentially now his rookie year, because the team around him as a whole, the Vikings are just loaded. On offense, in terms of just their weapons and the way the line's built and just coaching, the whole thing is set up very much for success for him, and everything that comes out of Minnesota is that they all love him and that he has the brain and the attitude for it, and he's worked hard during last season while he was injured, all that sort of stuff. Jaden Daniels, I really agree with you. He's at that high. Bo Nix, the team around him now has gotten more and more solid, sneakily good. not great, but good. You know, they're in this middle sort of window where the sum of all of the parts on the Broncos could be what really pulls them forward and into the playoffs again, rather than other teams that are built with a few really good weapons and a good quarterback, or a mid-range quarterback and really, really good weapons, that kind of thing. The Broncos, their team as a whole, both sides, offense and defense, is sort of in this mid-range where there could be that problem for that division. Spencer Rattler, my God, I worry for that kid. That whole team is just a basket case, and he could just get destroyed on the field. We could just see like Sam Howell level of destroying a QB. And as you say, Stoff is most likely to be put in there at some point, because I think he's probably got more talent than, or shown more than Spencer Rattler has. Because unfortunately, the games where Spencer played last season, it wasn't the best environment to be playing in. I worry for that kid just because he's gotten drafted to just a terrible, terrible team a franchise at the very, very wrong time. Caleb Williams, as I said, I agree. The upside there. The one I'm most interested in is the one I haven't mentioned yet, which is actually Drake May. And I'm interested in that just for the reason, Nick, that his offense, the offense around Drake May last year was horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. Without question, the worst offensive line of any of the rookie quarterbacks last season. And they would have gone close to the worst offensive line of any quarterback last season, nearly. So they were horrendous. So they've obviously beefed up a fair bit on O-line, so they've made some moves there. He's got a new OC in Josh McDaniels now, who we've all seen what Josh McDaniels can do in the league, especially with young quarterbacks. So that's kind of exciting. And if he can strike lightning for the second or third time, Josh McDaniels, then it's going to be good things for Drake May. But the good parts for Drake May was the way he actually played last season, despite everything else around him.
Yes.
He got the ball out faster than the majority of quarterbacks last season. So he was faster than they say league average player, but I think he was top 10 in fastest to get rid of the ball last season, which obviously, because he was under huge amounts of pressures, the quick pressures, they were under 2.5 seconds. So he had more of that than any other quarterback except for Joe Burrow last season. And we all know how bad the Bengals were. So Joe Burrow, the only one. The only difference is Joe Burrow drops back way, way more. So there's a lot more experience there, and he can read it more, and he knows what he's doing. But for a rookie, he gets the ball out really quickly. He's incredibly accurate. He's got a good arm. I think if you put good stuff around him, they have the possibility of actually, if the coaching works and it all comes together as a plan, and I do agree with you, the Patriots are built more as a defensive scheme. That's just where it's coming from a head coach perspective. But if they get back to that nitty-gritty offense that the Patriots used to be known for, and it all comes together under Josh McDaniels as an OC, I like the year for Drake May, really. I think that they'll do better. I think they'll do better than they did last season, I'll put it that way.
Well, they can't. Their O-line's not going to be worse. The receiver room should be better. And hopefully their running back room is better. Their running backs, I think, is what really cost them last year.
And it worries me again, still, Brad, their running backs.
Yeah, well, in the sense of they just had no way to run the ball, and their line's better, so they should at least be able to run it. And we're not talking; they don't have to be a top 15 offense, but man, at least get in the 20s, So if you can get in those early 20s, then that's a huge jump. They can't get much worse, and I think I'm spot on with you and what so many people have said. It's despite all those things, May still put up a decent thing. So I'm excited to see him and how they utilize him, because he reminds a lot of people of like Josh Allen or Jalen Hurts in his running ability and the fact that he was sneaky athletic. So it'll be good to watch him.
I'm still, like I said, I'm worried about that running back room though, because they're still listing Ramondre Stevenson as RB1. I really like Travion Henderson. I think he will be a force if he gets going in the right way. I think he's going to elevate that offense a lot. There, can you believe Patriots backs last year were creating yardage basically just to get 4 yards per carry. They averaged 4 yards per rush. Only 5 teams in the league were worse than that last season. 4.
Yeah, that's not helping your quarterback at all. Teams just tee off and know they don't have to load the box. So, yeah.
But if Stephon Diggs ends up healthy and good to go, he's got Stephon Diggs there as wide receiver. Kyle Williams, who they drafted in the 3rd round as well. Bit of help there from Mac Hollins to Mario Douglas. So it is looking good. And, so I like it. Hunter Henry is a great tight end. Oster Hooper is a really good sort of blocking tight end as well. So I like the upgrades that they've done. I like what they've sort of slowly done around the O-line and all that sort of stuff as well. So I have more hope. I'm interested to see what's going to happen with Drake May. Let's put it that way.
If you had to pick between two different guys. I'm just curious. If you had to pick between Penix or McCarthy, who would you take?
McCarthy.
Would you?
Yeah. And it's based on what I've read coming from other players. So his attitude, I think, is the biggest thing, the stuff I have. And I admittedly haven't read a huge amount of stuff on Michael Penix. Atlanta's not my team, so I don't follow it as closely. But, it's a lot of stuff. Like, immediately he was hurt, and a lot of guys go into rehab stuff and they go away and they sort of doing a bit of their own thing. But I've talked about it before. Like, he was seeking out the defensive leaders, like the veteran guys on the D-line, to sit and watch film with him so he could study how they watch film and what they look for in terms of what the offenses are doing and that sort of thing. So he was getting more cerebral with it, I guess, and really diving deep into things. So I like the attitude of the guy, and I'm really hoping there was some good stuff in camp last year and some good stuff in the preseason games. So, or the one that he did play. So I'm hoping. I'm more hopeful.
Nick, who would you choose?
Oh man, it's tough.
Yeah,
Because I really want to say, we'll base it based on, how they were in college, which for me, like I would lean towards, particularly in that last year, probably Michael Penix. Mm-hmm. But just, I would say based on just the environment that they're in, that environment that he's in, based on the coaching, even though Atlanta's weapons are good, Minnesota's, I think, would give them the edge. Also a better offensive line. I'd probably favour JJ McCarthy in the situation that he's in.
I guess then, Vic,
I think
we'll go another way then. I'll phrase Brad's question another way. And the same for Brad too. If you had to choose one of those two guys to be on your team, as it is now, on the 49ers, Nick.
I'd go if they were playing for us, I'd go Michael Penix because he's got more talent, and I think that look, I don't know what you can say about Shanahan's development of Brock Purdy, but I've got more faith with someone that's already got the talent as opposed to him trying to develop someone. So in that sense, I'm going with Michael Penix.
Brad, on the Cowboys.
If I'm the Cowboys, I probably, to be honest with you, I'm probably swinging for the fences and taking McCarthy, just because well, in saying that though, I mean, give it like if it is the current team this year. Probably actually, I'm going to backtrack. Probably Penix this year, just because he does have a little bit more boom or bust. I think McCarthy's is more of a safe bet, but the Penix has the higher ceiling.
Good.
So
I want you both to choose Penix. That's a great answer. Right?
Yeah, but they're not playing for our teams, though.
No, that's right.
My original
I can't pick
answer
one of
was
these
still-
because one of them is still playing for my team. But I want, and he's the starting quarterback for my team. And too many people at the moment that are around me have been starting to talk up the Vikings in different areas. And I'm like, stop it, cut it out, just cut it out. Taylor thinks that they're gonna like oh my god, we're gonna do a bold 100 picks from all of the AGN network, the Aussie Gridiron Network, shortly. That's going to come out in the next week or so. We'll do a bit of a deep dive into a few of our own bold takes on the show. Taylor's going to come on with us. One of Taylor's is that the Vikings are going to be the top offense in the league.
whoa!
And then another one from some whack-ass jabroni on our network basically said that the Broncos and the Vikings are going to be in the Super Bowl together. And I'm just like, cut this shit out. None of this shit. I don't want it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
I love it. I love it.
The only point that I want optimism that the Vikings are going to be in the Super Bowl is after we win a championship game. Before then, cut it out. I don't want to hear it.
That's why it's a hot take. That's the definition.
Yeah, there you
It
go.
might be the
Exactly.
definition, but it's also like I don't need it. I don't need that stress in my life. I don't need that level of disappointment. Otherwise, I'd be a Cowboys fan.
Oh,
Side swipe. I love that.
cheap, low-hanging fruit.
It's not low hanging fruit. It's the preseason, and there's still there's Cowboys fans out there going, "This is our year again, Brad."
Oh, well, I'm feeling much better about this year than last year. That's for sure.
Really?
So,
Feeling better
Yeah.
about it is okay, but if you get out there and start saying, "This is our year, we're going to the Super Bowl," and it's preseason, it's like, no, shut
well,
up.
You're not a Cowboys fan unless you do that. Well, no, let me say that. Reiterate. You're not the stereotypical Cowboys fan unless you do that.
Are you saying that you haven't done that before, Brent?
Oh no, plenty of times, but it's just that the fact that Jerry's just gone all in on me so many times.
He's done what?
I mean that. Yeah. I mean that Jerry is not going all in on me. I'll provide the buns. You guys give me the meat. Jeez. Yeah. No, I'm not having some 88-year-old man go all in on me. Unless,
Smiles and glory holes.
jeez. Stop it.
No, well, it is what it is, Brad. I just don't. I don't like hype around the Vikings. We've been disappointed for too many years. It's just let's go. We're going to have a good year. It's going to be positive things for McCarthy. We're going to have a good year.
I like it.
Those kind of things. That's fine.
They're going to win the championship.
Jefferson will be offensive player of the year. Like we can say that. Happy to.
Okay. Okay.
I'm going to put that in the doc actually right now. Screw you all.
There you go.
I love it. I love it.
Since Taylor told me that one of my takes already was too soft.
Oh wow! All right.
Oh, I got a bone to pick with Brad too.
What did I do?
You took all my takes, Brad. Anyway. I can't believe this. I went to put stuff in this doc, and we're getting ahead of ourselves because it's the week on, but we are going to do these bold takes. But I went to put stuff in this doc thinking I've got some really good bold takes that are going to cause a bit of a stir amongst the boys. No worries. Go in there. Check what everyone else has got. Why are Brad and I in a mind meld? What the hell?
Oh,
I
that's
was
hilarious.
I'm like, how does that happen?
No doubt. Oh, wow. Because we're both geniuses. That's how. That's good. Yeah.
And it was all. And I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but it was all around Daniel Jones too. So
Okay.
there's a
I
little
like
bit
it.
of
Foreshadowing.
foreshadowing for people. So
That's good.
all right, cool. Well, yeah, look out for all that in coming weeks. Good take tonight, boys. That's second year QBs, sorry. So good talk on that, and some great news. Hopefully, we get some interesting news for next week, and we can have a bit more of a chat. But look out for all the stuff coming up forward. as we go through the year. There should be, if you haven't listened yet, and strangely you've clicked on this one first, there's an Aussie NFL Fantasy show out that came out on Friday. So go back and listen to that. I'm on the fantasy show with the boys this week. We went through and did a mock draft, their first one of the year for a 10-team league, and the first one on the actual show. Sunday, you'll hear the actual mock draft episode come out, which will be hilarious because I have had a bit of a dig at Manjot, who jumped in the draft with us as well. He's not on the actual on the recording on the podcast, but yep, had a bit of a dig everywhere at Manjot. So make sure you go and listen to that because I'm just being silly and crazy the whole time. So unlike here. So apart from that, thank you very much for listening to us. As I said much earlier, check out everything to do with podcasts at Linktree /Aussie Gridiron Network, where you can find all the links to all of our socials, every episode ever of Aussie NFL Fantasy and this show, G'day Gridiron, as well as some stuff on Aussie Gridiron Today, which is, like I said, we're going to have more and more stuff coming out in the next few weeks. You will also find a link to that merch store where you can get that great T-shirt design we made just for Nick and his O-line mates defending Australia on the Outback Gridiron team. So, until then, thanks, boys. Thank you very much for the chat. Thanks very much for joining us, and we'll see you later.